For many of us, saying goodbye to 2021 was something to celebrate. But in terms of your bank balance, 2022 has some unwelcome surprises in store.
Terms like inflation, interest rates and wholesale energy prices might all sound a bit like things that someone else needs to worry about, but they could all be about to make our lives that bit more expensive. So here's everything you need to know about your bills this year.
You might have already noticed the price of your shopping has gone up. The cost of food is linked to labour shortages and other problems across the supply chain, partly thanks to the pandemic and partly thanks to Brexit. They're problems which aren't going away anytime soon.
So it's more important than ever to be able to, shop around and make sure that you're, shopping with the right supermarket, because they all tend to offer loyalty points, which will give you money off of your purchases, but they're not all created equal.
Official figures, which include other costs faced by households, paint a similar picture. For example, in November, petrol rose by over 5% in just a month. And if you want to buy a used car, well, that will cost you over 31% more than it would have done last year.
All those price rises are driving up the overall rate of inflation. It was up 5.1% in the year to November. That might not sound like a lot, but it's the highest it's been in a decade, and way above the 2% officials aim to keep it at. And there's likely more bad news to come on that. The Bank of England forecasts inflation will soon surge to 6%. To try and slow it down, the Bank of England has one key tool up its sleeve: raising interest rates. Before Christmas, it announced interest rates were going up from 0.1% to 0.25%.
So what it means is, for really high interest debt, it gets more and more expensive because you owe not just the amount you owe, but you're also having to pay every month to service that debt, and that debt depends on the interest rate that's set.
So potentially bad news for your bills in the short term, especially if you have a mortgage or other borrowings, but it could lead to better news in the future. In theory, those extra costs leads to less disposable income being spent, the economy slowing and inflation decreasing. In other words, a halt to those rising prices. All well and good, but there's another very significant cost rise on the way.
With winter in full swing, households around the UK are using more energy to keep us warm. That, plus a combination of global forces, means that the wholesale cost of gas is soaring. And sadly, it's only a matter of time before that cost will be passed on to the consumer. In April, the energy price cap, which limits the amount consumers pay, will be adjusted by the regulator Ofgem. As a result, energy bills will probably rise by more than 50% to £2,000 a year for the average family household.
What's happened is you've seen the wholesale price of energy go up, which has meant that smaller suppliers have actually gone bust, some of them. So because there are less suppliers in the market, it means that, again, prices are going up, and they are going up quite substantially. So, it is a really, really critical time.
Here's what else is on the horizon. National insurance tax is going up by 1.25% in April, but workers on the basic minimum wage will receive a boost that month too, as it's set to go up to £9.50 an hour. And while train fares are expected to rise by 3.8% in March, anyone retiring on the full new state pension will see their earnings rise by £290 this year.
There are some reasons to be cheerful, but there's also a lot for families to grapple with. The year's likely to be tough for many.